Hi there, tech people. It is great to see everybody, and hello to the Adapters and the Adapters Tech X. We are delighted to be here with a fellow by the name of Brian Proctor, but we'll get to him in a minute. Thanks to the team at Hunter Gatherer for producing this and the AHC. It's been a couple of weeks since the last show there in Manchester, and it's been a great success. And I had the pleasure of chairing the Tech Round Table. So we are going to talk today about perspectives, and we're going to talk today about somebody who has been around in the industry a long time and has a lot of perspective. He has a very successful consulting firm, spent a lot of time in the hospitality industry, working his way up. He's from Canada. I think he speaks a little French. So we know that he's done a lot in the space, illustrious career through multiple brands, and he's going to share a lot about that and the world of franchising, and now in the world of making other people's businesses hum. And as importantly, Tuesdays Thanks, which is a terrific podcast, super positive, talking to people about what they give thanks about. And I was very honored to be on Brian's show, and the least I can do is have Brian on to share what he's up to right now. Get into the leads bit. I want to talk. Let's talk about your Tuesday releases and the thanks. What's the origin of that? What got you going on that? I mean, that's really exciting, and I got to tell you, it's something I look forward to every publishing. So every week.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. Yeah. So this Tuesday Thanks concept came during the pandemic, actually, at the very beginning. And I'll make this a short story, but if you remember when Tiger had his last car accident when he drove off the road, I was watching the golf tournament that weekend, and one of the young pros said, we really have to thank Tiger while he's around. And it's not like he was dying, but just that, he may never play again. So that planted a seed in me somewhere that I didn't even know, really. And then a couple of weeks later, Arnie Sorensen passed away, and everybody knows Arnie was legendary CEO of Marriott Hotels. And, the day he passed, LinkedIn was just flooded with, thanks and comments, and he had made such an impact. And I said to myself then, I put the two things together and said, you know what? We do have to thank people while they're around. So I made a commitment that every Tuesday on LinkedIn, I would thank an individual or individuals who had had an impact on my career. And so that's how it started. And so I did it for the year. And then I got to the end of the year and I said, well, what's next? What do I do now? And I was getting hammered by people saying, hey, I missed my Tuesday morning fix. What's going on? And then cut to the chase. I'm driving home from Naples, Florida, back to my place in Connecticut, and I'm listening to a bunch of podcasts. And I said, wait a minute, I could do this. Now, I have no idea. You know me, I don't know how to spell technology. But I said, I could do a podcast. Why don't I make Tuesday Thanks a podcast where I interview people? And that's kind of how it all came about. And it's a passion project of mine. I love doing it. I'm reconnecting with old friends and associates. I'm meeting new friends and associates. And it's typically been hospitality industry execs, but this season and season 2, I'm branching out. I've got sports and entertainment. I've got educational people in there. So, and we even kicked off the season with Scott Colby. He actually has a company called sayitwithgratitude.com, and it's all about making business about gratitude. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's the long of the short of it.
So now you're traveling across the United States, helping companies think about solving problems with Leeds hospitality. I'm very interested in what you're seeing as common issues that you see in companies. You're dabbling in quite a few different categories. So, what are the common issues that you are seeing in this window of time?
Yeah, I think one of the things that a couple of my clients are experiencing is, and again, it shouldn't come as any surprise, is how do we adapt to the new workforce and the new workplace, right? So you have companies out there that during the pandemic, of course, made the commitment to their staff, you can work from anywhere. So one of the challenges that that's created is pre-pandemic, you had 80 to 90% of your team in the same campus or in the same building. Now that could be as low as 30%. So what the leaders are finding is, well, now how do I bring all these people back together in an environment that's safe and secure and on a frequent basis? So companies are looking for ways to have these meetings in spaces, but their campuses can't take it because they weren't designed that way. They were designed as offices. So
Mhm.
now, how do you repurpose your workplace? It's kind of like WeWork Part Two, almost, in that can you use technology to use unassigned offices for people coming in and things of that nature? And then, secondly, how do you ingrain hospitality aspects into re-engaging the workforce coming back?
I mean, we could go on forever about the
Yeah.
notion of there's and again, we just did an interview with Joseph Bodnowski, who's the president of PM Hospitality, known him for years, and they've done an amazing job of integrating and standing up technology that is easy, AI led, but their employees have the ability to look up their W-2, they can book their scheduled holidays, they can do so much for themselves on their phone, on their
Mhm.
tablet, on their handheld device. Um, we continue to look under the carpet for something that's been sitting right there in front of us. So
Exactly.
you'd hope that your evangelical approach to let's keep it simple gets moving and gets out there. So as you're going from different parts of the country, are you seeing a variation in thinking between West Coast, East Coast, U.S., and in how they think about the problems that are facing us today?
I haven't really noticed a regional. It's been more of a industry by industry. So I've been very fortunate to be in the hospitality industry my entire career. But through that, I've made contacts in the tech world with the tech big guys out in Silicon Valley, and then with the financial institutions and things of that nature. Because to your point during the introduction, I've been around a long time, so I'm old. I have a lot of contacts,
But
and
I
I
gotta tell I gotta tell you, whatever cream you're using, you look bloody good.
and not bad for 5 a.m. in the morning. So I think it's more industry driven versus regionally because it's, each industry, like if you look at tech, they've been taking care of their employees from day one. But if you look at other industries, they haven't. So now it's eye opening to them to say, okay, how do we make their life easier if we're going to ask them to come back into the office, re engage, and do all the things? So I think you can take the tech model and scale it to your industry and kind of go that route. So I'm seeing that more industry led versus regional.
So, Brian, tell us, if you could share your tips and takes, that would be great for everybody to really walk away with something concrete.
Well, I think quickly, just going through them, again, KISS, keep it simple with the technology, ensure that that's easy to use on both fronts. Also, adapting to the remote worker and re engaging people going through what they're going through these days. And then just reimagining key roles that are touched by technologies that may not have been touched before. So that's three quick ones I think we could look at.
They're pretty succinct, and that's the way that I think owners and operators, as well as the managers of people and the people themselves, are seeking. Keep it simple.
Mhm.
Brian, it's been great to spend time with you. By the way, everybody, we're going to have an extended podcast where I'm sure a bunch of stuff is going to come up on on this conversation, which I'm sure of. And so it's been great having everybody on today, from the folks at AHC Questex, with another great show there in Manchester. And thanks again to everybody who continues to watch us. Keep on looking over the fence.